Hello everyone. Today we'll understand the concept of SAP ABAP. But before going to the introduction part of SAP ABAP, we'll understand the concept of ERP system. What is an ERP? The full form of ERP is Enterprise Resource Planning. An ERP system helps us to synchronize data and stores all the information in a common database, that is a single database, which is related to various modules of an organization such as sales and distribution, production planning and material management. Now you must be thinking that why SAP was introduced. What was the use and purpose of SAP? SAP was introduced to overcome the drawbacks of the contemporary ERP systems. It removed the bottlenecks from the system and it leads to system performance. In simple terms, SAP ABAP language is nothing but intellectual commands to the system to perform actions like what should be done when you click on a button or a database command while selecting a data. So in simple terms, it was SAP ABAP for ABAPers in SAP. Now, moving forward with the introduction part of SAP ABAP, we'll see what are the topics covered in this particular session. Now, the ABAP course outline would be Introduction to SAP Architecture, next ABAP Overview, History of ABAP, how do you log on to an SAP system and how do you log off from an SAP system. Now first we'll check the introduction part of an SAP architecture. Now before going to the introduction part of an architecture, we'll like to share some information about the architecture part. There are three different views for an architecture: logical view, a software oriented view and an user oriented view. Now logical view is nothing but a pictorial view which was used earlier by the ERP systems. So first we'll check with the logical view of an R3 architecture. Now this particular diagram shows how R3 basis system, that is a real-time 3-tier basis system, forms a central platform within the R3 systems. R3 systems are nothing but real-time 3-tier systems. The basic difference between a logical view and a hardware or a software based view is not all of the components can be assigned to a particular hardware or a software unit. If some of the components are assigned and are in a working position, then the other components need to wait till the runtime. There are some of the components which are assigned to the kernel and the basis services, which are indirectly assigned to the presentation components. So this was the architecture of a logical view. Now we'll see what is the difference between a software oriented view and a logical view. A software oriented view describes various software components that makes up all the R3 systems. Here it is also called as a multi-tier client server system. It comprises of different layers, namely a presentation layer, an application layer and a database layer. It consists of an SAP GUI component. What is an SAP GUI component? GUI is graphical user interface. It is a GUI component and an application server that makes up the total SAP R3 system, that is a 3-tier architecture system. Now moving forward, we'll understand different layers which are used in this particular 3-tier architecture. First is the presentation layer. Presentation layer consists of one or more servers that acts as an interface between an SAP R3 system and its users. That is the system which helps us to interact with the users. Now next is the application layer. Application layer consists of one or more application servers and message servers. Next is the database layer. Database layer is nothing but it comprises of a central database system. It has two components. One is the database and the other is the DBMS.